Basic truss ABC. Where is ABC? Now this truss is ABC. Sorry, have I started the recording? Apologies.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's been started. Okay. 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 Now, so a basic truss element, a truss ABC, can be extended by adding new members to the existing joints, connecting them to form a new joint. Okay. Basically, I've got a truss. I add two members, I made another truss. I add two members, another truss. I add two members, another truss. I add two members, another truss. So by adding members at the joint, you can create a truss structure, just like in Lego, you build up with blocks. Further extending the basic truss by repeating this process. So a truss constructed by this procedure is called a simple truss. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so let's move on. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So remember, you got a truss. There's a truss. Let me change the color. Yes. So remember, you got a truss. You have another truss. You have another truss. And here I'm focusing on this point. You got a pin. That's what is shown here. Okay. So basically, it's showing that the members are connected. Pin. Okay. Now I can open it up. Okay. And I want to show you this. Remember, I had a point. Sorry, where's my truss? Why did I remove it? So I'm looking at this point. So I've got 1 point and I've got 5 members. I can open it up. So that's the point, and I've got 5 members here, just like shown in this graph. So the forces being applied is assumed inward. Okay, each member is putting force inward. Okay, so if the force applied is inward, if I draw the free body diagram of this pin, what will be the direction of the force for the pin? Let me just draw lines. It is same as, yeah, it is same as, remember I mentioned, if I have a table, that's a very weird table, just a second. As a table on a floor, and I put a box on it, box. And I ask you to draw the free body diagram of the box. So what would you do? You will make a box, only box. You will put a weight acting downward, and you will write a normal force upward. Am I right? Is this a free body diagram of the box? Am I right?
Sir, I guess you take a point instead of the box.
Yes, I've taken the point. That's the point here. But I made the box.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now this is the free body diagram. This one. So this one is the free body diagram of the box. And look, I've got the reaction force and acting upward. Now, if I look at if I draw the free body diagram of the table, then I would have the weight of the table acting downward. Okay, and I will also have an N force downward. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So What I want you to concentrate on is the end force. If I look at the box, it's upward. If I look at the table, it's downward. So remember, same force in the opposite direction applies to the other body. Is that clear? I mentioned this many times when we're doing the free body diagram. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So if I'm looking at the pin, then the force, if I draw the free body diagram of the pin, then according to the pin, my forces would be like this. Am I right? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, I've got the picture here. So if you look at the pin, the forces are outward. If you look at the mumble, the forces are inward. So it's exactly what I mentioned whenever we draw a free body diagram. Is that clear to everyone, or do you want me to clarify this again?
Sir, could you clarify it one more time?
Okay. Okay. I'll come back to the same box part. That's why it will be easy, always easy to explain. And it's on a table. Okay. So I ask you to draw the free body diagram of the box. Excuse me. That's the box. So I will make a box, free body diagram, and cut it off from the surrounding. Okay, remember, whenever you draw a free body diagram of anything, you draw that body part and then cut it off from the surrounding. So let's look at the active force. Active force is this one, acting downward. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
And then you got the reactive force, which is here. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
The sum of all the forces along y-axis is equal to 0, because the weight acting downward is equal to R upward. It has to be 0 because it's stationary and it's in equilibrium. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if I ask you to draw the free body diagram of the table, so let's have a table. It's a table. And its weights, G would be somewhere here. Sorry, G would be here. That would be, this would be the weight of the table. Sorry, that's MG, okay? So I'm drawing the free body diagram of the table only. So if I have to draw the free body diagram of the table, I will draw the table and cut it off from the surrounding. I will not put a box on it. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Because I'm drawing the free body diagram of the table. So I will have a reactive force which is active now for the table and which is equal to R, same as this one. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that's how. So if I look at the box, then R is upward. If I look at the table, then R is downward. Clear? Same force in the opposite direction for the body. Okay. I'll explain more in the coming slides. Okay.
Okay, sir. Yes. It's fine, sir.
Okay. So tension. Remember, tension is pull away from the point. Okay. And compression is push towards the joint. You have to remember this. It is common sense. Force is being applied inward. It is trying to reduce the size of the point, so it's under compression. Force is acting outward. It is trying to elongate the point, so yes, it is under tension. Okay, so that's common sense. Won't go into the detail. And yes, for, remember you did particle equilibrium. So there was like,
So your mic is muted.
Sorry, you're muted.
can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Is the sound clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, remember you did particle equilibrium. So it's sum for the force along x and sum for the force along y equals 0. Am I disconnected or can you hear me?
Yes,
we
sir,
can
you're
hear you.
audible.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so remember in tension, yes, it's being pulled. Okay, so if I've got this member here, stay with me, okay, so that I make this perfectly clear to all of you. If I have this member and I cut it off from here, okay, and I draw the free body diagram of this part. So would it look like something like this?
No, sir.
There's some issue with the mic. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I've got example here. Okay, let me repeat it. Let me just connect this mic part here. So give me a minute. Okay. So let me repeat again. Ignore the part on top. Let me make something here. I've got one student pulling it at 10 Newton in this direction, student 1, and I've got another student, S2, pulling it on the other direction. Okay, so that's also 10 Newton. Okay, so it's under tension. This is a bar. Okay, this is a bar. Okay, so I've got a bar, and I've got one student pulling it at 10 Newton force in one direction, and the other student with 10 Newton on the other. Okay, the total force, tension force applied on this bar is 20 Newton. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now I want to break it up from here. So let me make this part only. Okay. So I'm drawing a fiber diagram of this broken part. I've got this force. This is S. This is right here 10 Newton force. Okay. This is the same bar. Okay. And it's in equilibrium. So looking at this part, do you think it's in equilibrium?
No, sir.
No, sir.
But in
No.
practically, is this moving or not? If this is this part moving or not?
Yes, I'm moving.
Yes,
Hold
sir.
on. No. This is this one. Okay, I'm just drawing the free body diagram of this part here. Okay, I'm drawing a free body diagram of this part here. So tell me, is this part in equilibrium or not? Is this part moving?
Not moving.
No.
No, sir.
No,
No,
sir.
Sir, there
it's
is a
not
force
moving. So
applied
it's,
here.
it's in equilibrium. So,
Yes.
so I'm drawing the same part here. I'm drawing the same part here. Same part. Okay. So this part is in equilibrium. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But if we look at the sum of all the forces along X, it tells us it is not in equilibrium. So it means there's something missing. So what's missing is a force here, which is 10 Newton. So if I've got a bar, I've got a student S1 pulling in one direction and S2 pulling in the other direction. I cut it off from here or here. If I take the middle part, so I've got a middle part. On the middle part, there will be a force experienced in this direction and there will be a force experienced in this direction. Am I right? For this middle part.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
Yes.
so the structure is in equilibrium. The whole structure is then in equilibrium. Okay. Now watch what I'm going to do, so that it's relatively easy for you to understand what the one of the student wanted me to explain the reaction force. So let me split it into two now. I've got this as the second part. That's part one, and this is part two. The same, this is part one, and this is part two. If I look at part two, that's my free body diagram. Am I right for part two?
Yes, sir.
This is part two. And if I look at part one, sorry, let me draw it a bit further so that it's easy. That's my part one, force being applied. Now part one, if I draw the free body diagram of part one, is that complete now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you see the force applied here is the same force applied here, but it's in the opposite direction?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is that now clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back to the slides to make it more understandable. Just give me a second. It is basically, you have to imagine what the bar feels when it's being under tension. So is that now right that I've got a bar under tension? I chopped it off from this part. So that's the fiber diagram of one part, and this is the fiber diagram of the other part. Both are in equilibrium. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So I've
Yes,
now
sir.
got under compression. I cut it off from the center. Compression. Maybe it's easy for you to visualize this one then. Compression means it is trying to reduce the length of the bar. At every point, it is trying to reduce the length of the bar. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if I cut it from this part here, I made one part here and the other one here. And if I experience this part, because of the compression, all section of it wants to reduce its size because it's under compression. So same effect will come here, and it will only happen if you got a force here. Therefore, it's exactly the same as in tension, same under compression. Opposite forces acting at the section.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.